Right, good afternoon everyone. Welcome and thank you for attending our webinar today, which is all around looking at the way you use SharePoint, the manual processes that might be driving your business productivity, and how we can help you to automate and extend your processes, enhance your user experience, and mobilize your workflows using Nintex's market-leading set of integrated solutions. Just before we get started with the actual webinar, just want to discuss a little bit about the format of how we're going to conduct this webinar. We'll be starting off by just talking a little bit about the capabilities on offer today. Then we'll be going to a demonstration that will really form the bulk of this presentation, followed by any questions that you might have as well. Now, I must stress this is a listening-only webinar, so if you do have any questions while we're going through the actual presentation or immediately afterwards, you'll see at the bottom right-hand side of your screen in the GoToMeeting control panel, there's a questions tab there, so feel free to write any questions you have down while we're going through, and either immediately afterwards or at the end of the webinar, basically we'll try and answer as many questions as possible in the time remaining. So let's get started with the actual webinar. On the line today, my name is Robert Haziotis. I'm from Antares Solutions. I'm the head of Information and Communication Solutions. Also on the line, I'm pleased to announce that we've got Reno Products, the Territory Manager at Nintex, and Dan Stoll as well, who many of you are probably aware of as the Technical Evangelist at Nintex. In terms of the agenda, basically we're going to be starting off by giving you a very brief overview of Antares. Just run through very quickly some of our capabilities and where we look to help you in terms of professional services. I'll then be handing over to Reno, who will give you the same overview on Nintex and in particular talk about the capabilities and how the various solutions they have on offer integrate. Then we'll be moving over to Dan, who will be giving a very informative demonstration of the capabilities, and as we mentioned, that will form the bulk of the presentation. And at the end, we should have some time available for any questions or comments that you have about the webinar. So just as we get started, just to give you a little bit of an overview of Antares. Antares operates in multiple different capabilities. First and foremost in business intelligence, we provide management around real-time reporting, KPIs, dashboards, and also working around with data cubes and big data. We put a big focus on the productivity space, which is all around SharePoint, Dynamic CRM, Project Server, and also, of course, things like Office 365, Link, and Trim integration. We also have a managed service offering. So if you're looking for cloud hosting solutions, maybe you're looking to go to Office 365, or you're looking for private hosting in Azure, or even in other data centers, Antares can help you with that. We also provide support and services around IT infrastructure. So if you need us to host your infrastructure or to help you manage it, we can do that. And we provide training solutions as well. Antares have a very innovative solution center, and basically what we do as well is we develop custom solutions and solution accelerators that really help to drive the productivity and innovation and lower the total cost of development for our customers. So Antares is a Microsoft Gold partner. We've got Gold partnership in portals and collaboration, in business intelligence, and assembly and content management and data platform. So we've been around for about 7 years, and we operate in quite a wide variety of different spaces as well. In terms of what we specialize in, we put a big focus on the corporate intranet, of course, from a SharePoint point of view. We also look to help customers in terms of their social business tools, their needs, as they move over to SharePoint 2013. We talk about out-of-the-box social tools. We also talk about Yammer and any custom tools as well that might be needed. We do a lot of integration across things like Trim, CRM, ERP, and any bespoke solutions that you might be looking to integrate with SharePoint, as well as information management solutions. But ultimately, we also put a huge focus on the business process automation. So when we go in and speak to customers, we're always talking around how to automate your different processes. And that's really one of the reasons that we're holding this webinar today and why we partner with such a great corporation like Nintex. Because we understand that most of our users really find the out-of-the-box tools in SharePoint a little bit limiting. They don't want to be able to code expensive and very time-consuming workflows. They want to be able to just draw it through a simple designer. They want it to be integrated with their forms, so you've got seamless business process automation. And they want that to operate across different systems, external systems, things like Exchange, Link, databases, web services, and of course the cloud. So that's one of the key reasons why we do partner with Nintex. They have a great solution offering in this market space, and that's what we're going to be showing you today as soon as Dan takes over. Just the last thing that we want to talk about is these are some of our customers. And as you can see here, we operate across many different verticals, anything from the entertainment to financial services, state and federal government, retail, education, utilities, mining, and of course non-for-profit as well. So whoever you are, whatever industry you're in, Antares has a lot of experience in working in the different verticals as well. So that's a little bit about Antares. What I'd like to do now is hand over to Reno and introduce Reno to come on the line, and he'll be talking a little bit about the Nintex offering and in particular what we're going to be showing you today on the webinar. Reno, are you there?
Yeah, hi Robert, thank you for the introduction. Just for those of you who didn't catch my name at first, it's Reno Breitenbach, and I'm the Territory Manager at Nintex, and I cover all of our partners and customers here in Australasia. Very welcome to all of you for joining us today. All of our existing customers, good to be talking to you again. And for those of you who are considering looking at a tool to automate your business processes with, I hope you find the session very informative in terms of how we can show how you can leverage your investment in SharePoint and utilizing a third-party tool like Nintex on top of your SharePoint environment and able to get more out of SharePoint. So with that, there's a few things I'd like to just tell you more about for those of you who don't know Nintex. We are the leader in the SharePoint workflow space. We've got over 5 million licensed users, more than 4,000 customers globally, as we service more than 90 countries with our 600 plus partners globally. And we've also got the product available in over 20 languages, where it makes sense for most of the geographies that we do cover today. Here you can see what our product stack looks like, and the fact that we're now in our 4th generation of software and cloud services. We really had our first product back in the days when SharePoint Portal Server 2003 was around with a product called Nintex Smart Library. With the release of SharePoint 2007, we expanded our portfolio with Nintex Workflow 2007 and the reporting product Reporting 2008. With a follow-up release from Microsoft with SharePoint 2010, we then further extended our footprint across our products. We introduced Nintex Analytics 2010. We've also brought on board Workflow 2010 for Project Server. We launched our first Forms product, which is Form 2010, and now with the release for 2013 is really the 2nd generation of that Forms product. So as you can see, we've really scaled our footprints now with SharePoint for Office 365. We've also got Nintex Workflow for Office 365 as well as Forms for Office 365. So we can really cater to on-premises environments, pure play cloud environments, or even a hybrid between on-premise and cloud environments. We've also got a free app, which is the Nintex Mobile, which really combines your 2 products, which is Forms and Workflow together, so you can really extend what you do with SharePoint outside of SharePoint. So really when you have people on the move, employees working remotely, working with contractors, we've got a method by bringing that data into SharePoint, and with Workflow you can then kick off your business processes so you can make use of the external data that you brought into your environment and making sure that you get the best use out of that. So as you can see, everything we do is built upon SharePoint. So Nintex Workflow and Nintex Forms harnesses the SharePoint workflow engine And the same with workflow and forms for Office 365. It is built upon that platform. What we do here is we really give you a tool to combine all your Microsoft technologies. So Nintex really brings all of those technologies together through the integration of CRM, Link, Exchange, and even Microsoft Project. Within Nintex Workflow, we've also got a Nintex Live, so that is part of that product. And Nintex Live is you're connected to the cloud where you're able to make use of cloud services. So you can build your workflow on premises, but through Nintex Live, you can also then make use of various cloud actions, and you can pull and push data to and from the cloud. With Nintex Forms, we give you a Forms product, so you can use it on mobile devices such as tablets, mobile phones, and again, you're able to mobilize your workforce, and people who bring their own devices are able to make use of those devices within the working environment. So really, everything we do is on the SharePoint platform, and we provide all these various tools so you can harness the cloud, mobile devices, and all of your existing Microsoft products such as CRM, Exchange, and Link. As I said earlier, we are the market leader in SharePoint workflow. There was a Forrester survey that was done, and they had identified us as the most utilized vendor amongst third-party tools to augment SharePoint. This is obviously a very, very nice accolade for us to have, considering we've been around for a large number of years, and when people like Forrester and IDC sit up and take notice, it really goes a long way in showing the investment we've made in the product through all the generations that we have of Nintex Workflow and Forms. If anybody would like a copy of that survey, just reach out to us and we'll make it available through Robert. With that, that wraps up the overview of Nintex, and Dan Stoll, our technical evangelist, is now going to show you an end-to-end solution incorporating Nintex Workflow, the Nintex Mobile app, and also Nintex Forms.
Hi everybody, and thanks Reno and Robert for that. Everyone should see my screen now, which is a blank of SharePoint 2013 list. Just before I go into the solution I'm going to build out for you, I'm just going to briefly go over the particular tools that Reno just went through and described. So first of all, we've got Nintex Workflow, and Nintex Workflow is a SharePoint solution which installs into SharePoint and utilizes the actual technology that the SharePoint comes with, such as the workflow engine that is already available to you, that you've already purchased. So opening up the list ribbon within SharePoint, going over into Workflow settings, I can go ahead and open up Nintex Workflow. And Nintex Workflow is all in the browser. It's all browser-based, so there's no need to install any third-party products or third-party plugins, such as Silverlight or Java or anything like that. You don't need to install any products on the actual PC themselves either. And as you can see straight away, it's prompting me for any templates that I may wish to use. Now these can be customized and also created by your own internal teams for the business as well. So using blank, I can go ahead and simply start creating out my workflow like so. As Reno also mentioned, Nintex Live, which is part of the offering of the particular product, particularly in the scenarios of a hybrid solution, going up into the catalog, you can open up a number of actions that we have located based in Microsoft Azure, which can be consumed and from the on-premise workflows. To use any of these, such as creating servers in Amazon or talking to Office 365, for example, or even to Twitter, such as doing Twitter searches or posting to Twitter. Simply select on Add, go OK, and these download into your on-premise designer, where then you can then add those to your workflow. and they are consumed internally and then pushed out externally to Microsoft Azure to be executed. So just while they're downloading and coming across, I can now use those particular actions within my workflow. So that's just a real quick brief of Nintex workflow. So I'll just leave that out there. And part of my demonstration, I'll go into depth Nintex Forms, so I won't need to give you a quick overview of that. Okay, so the scenario I'm going to be building out today is around a council reporting form. And the scenario plays out around field staff walking around town, or might be driving around the shire or the council, and they may see graffiti or a fallen tree or some rubbish bins that are full, or it could be a trip hazard. So this particular scenario translates well into things like OH&S reporting, for example, where there might be a slippery floor, or there could be crack in the concrete, such as trip hazards, or there could be unsafe scaffolding or anything along those lines. So first of all, what we need is the list. Now, I've already gone, just to save a little bit of time, I've already started creating the list. So in SharePoint, I can create my list, and I've already got my title field, and I've got an officer ID, a description, a category, a job ID, a report location. Now, report location is actually using an out-of-the-box feature that comes with SharePoint called geolocation. And what that enables you to do is to integrate it in with Bing Maps. Now, that's something that comes with SharePoint, and I'll show you how we can integrate and leverage that capability within Nintex Forms in just a second. So if there's any other things that we need to add here, I can simply go ahead, create a new list, create a new column, and what we might do is I'll just put in that extra information. Okay, multiple lines of text, and we'll add that on. Okay, so there's our list built out. It's pretty simple list, nothing too fancy. But in all honesty, majority of forms that you need around the business are fairly simple. So going to create a new item here, I can see there's my out-of-the-box form. Now that's all great. Now, to process this information, we need to make some key decisions. Just opening up this form again, when I submit this form, I'm going to be on my laptop, and I can fill it in here, and it might be along the lines of I can see a fallen tree, and my officer ID might be 1234. I can put in a further description. I can pick the category of where it needs to go, such as landscaping. I'm not going to fill in anything around job ID. I can use my report location, so I can specify a location. This will allow me to put in a latitude and a longitude. Now, I'm probably not going to know what that is, so I'm just going to go use my location, and that's going to pick out where my location is. And then I can put any extra information. Now, what I need to do is I need to route particular information to different teams to come and fix this job based on the category. So depending on what the category is of this issue, depends on who will go and fix it. So let's look at the workflow on how we would build this out. So closing my list, I'm now going to go into Nintex workflow. Open this up. It's going to be blank. Now I'm going to open up a workflow that I created just before this call. There's street submission, and we'll open this up. Now, this particular workflow is also very simple. At the moment, we're only using 4 different actions. The first action is setting a field value, and this field value is actually setting up that job ID for me. So it's automating the process of creating a job ID for this particular issue. And all I'm doing here is putting some hard-coded text in, CS, and the ID of the number that's going in, and then the ID of the officer that's actually reported it. The copy to SharePoint action is then it's actually copying any attachments that may have been made, such as if I've taken a photograph of the fallen tree or of the graffiti. I can then, this workflow will actually copy those attachments and put them into another library where they can be stored and archived and viewed at a later purpose. Then I have the action of switching. And the switching action interrogates a particular field in the form, which is category, and looks to see, okay, what category was ticked in the form. And then based on that, we'll then route the workflow to go down that particular path. So in this example, I've got a task over here under landscaping that's going to be sent out to myself. Now, the person I'm currently logged in and as is NW13 SP site admin. Now, if I wanted to go out and build the rest of this process out, I can simply copy this and paste it across like so. If I also wanted to send email notifications out for every time something happened, I can simply put those in here like this, and I can put in a send notification here, and I can place myself here. Where are we? SP site admin. Like that. It's all nice and quick and easy. Oops, and I didn't give it a subject, so I better give it a subject. And for the subject, we might actually grab something a little bit more dynamic. So let's get the officer's ID. So we'll type in here, officer should be happy. Okay, so let's go save there. We'll get rid of this one. We don't need to have that there. And we'll copy this one over here, like so. Now we can build, so we've built out our switching actions here. Now going back into these particular tasks, I can change any other information that may have been copied across from the initial task that might need to be changed. So for example, I believe here we've got, a landscaping task has been assigned. One of the things here that we'd actually want to do is, how about we just go item properties, category, okay, and then I could have now just copied and pasted this across the entire screen, and it wouldn't have mattered what branch it lived under. So let's save that one. Okay, so that's our workflow. It's not overly complex. It's actually pretty quick and simple, but it's achieving a goal for us. It's setting a value, so it's giving it a job. It's copying the attachments out to another library for us, and then it's assigning a task to a particular team within the business to go and fix the particular issue. So we can publish this out, like so. Now, should I want to integrate this into any other systems, such as SQL, it's exactly the same process of what I've just showed you. So once it's just finished publishing out, I'll show you some of the other actions here. So going on to integration, if we wanted to leverage any reporting systems that we may have in SQL around jobs, or it could be something with our Esri system that you may have, you can simply drag and drop any of these SQL actions over, or CRM actions, web service calls if you need to call that to any other external systems. And within these particular actions, you can call stored procedures, or you can do all sorts of things in here that you may wish to do with any other external systems. Also, along the lines of integrating it with Link or OCS server, before assigning a task, for example, you may wish to see if that particular user is online or not. If they're not online, assign the task to somebody else. If they are online, sure, assign them a task. You can also integrate directly in with Exchange and place tasks in people's Outlook, or you can actually create appointments for them as well. So this might be a case where if it is a waste disposal issue, it could be put into a calendar first, and then assigned out the task, because there might be some SLAs around the particular time frames of cleaning up waste disposal issues. So you may need to actually put in some hard-coded rules in here. And these can also be set up with reminders and auto-delegation as well, such as if I wish to have some reminders around these particular tasks, we can place reminders that are sent every hour, for example. Or if it's something that hasn't been completed, so we can delegate tasks. If the job has not been completed after two days, for example, we can automatically delegate this to the approver's manager. So the person who is supposed to get this task, we can then send it to their manager. So we can actually go to the approver's manager. So just saving all of that out, and we'll just republish. Now, one of the other things that comes up quite often is what happens when someone goes away on holidays. Now, there's a couple of different things you can do here. So every user that has access to SharePoint, once Nintex Workflow is actually installed, you can set, so manually, they can set an out-of-office notification similar to what you would do in Outlook, for example, when you go away on holidays. So closing out of here, I can come up to my username, an Nintex Workflow, task delegation, and this now lets me specify who is going to get the tasks that are assigned to me between these two dates. And this can also be automated as well via workflow. So if you actually build out a process of leave request approval, for example, on approval of that leave, this can automatically be set up once that leave has been approved. So cancelling out of there, and let's go back to our form. Okay, so we've got our workflow now, and we've published it to the form, and that's set to run automatically once something's been created. But we need to do something about this particular form. So looking at the form, it's not very overly attractive, and we want it to be nicely branded. So coming up into the list, we can go ahead and open up Nintex Forms. Now, automatically what Nintex Forms does is applies a template to the content type within SharePoint, and it automatically builds out the form for you. Now, the template is fully customizable. So once you've built your template, you may have your own company logo here and color scheme or whatever it may be. Once that's been set, every time a new form's created, that information is pulled across to every form that's created after the fact. So looking at all of our options here, we've got our form. Now, there's not much that I really want to do with this. This is pretty much exactly what I wanted to do. The one thing that I wanted to do, though, is I wanted to hide this job ID field, hide these job IDs from anyone who is an administrator. Well, actually, what we'll do, we won't do that at all. We'll actually leave this one as it is, and we'll put a rule on this particular field, on the editable field, and we'll make the job, okay, we've got appearance, and we can actually make this, we'll put an expression on this particular field to say, only make this editable if the user is in the admin group. So we'll go, where are we? Inline functions is a member of group. Then we go site owners. Okay, so now any normal user that opens up this particular form, it'll be read-only and it won't be editable. So let's go save. Okay, so there's not much else that we want to do here except publish it out and start using it. But before I go ahead and do that, one of the things I do want to do, and one of the requirements from the business is to actually make this mobile. So selecting on the smartphone layout up in the top ribbon automatically creates a mobile layout for me. Now, this is all just using HTML and ASPX, and it's all very web-based and using CSS as well. And for any designers on the call, all of the design features of Nintex Forms is using CSS. So all of this can be changed as needed down to a pixel level. Also, another factoid for the developers on the call is that JavaScript can be used within Nintex Forms as well. So that can be used at runtime, and you can also use jQuery. So cancelling that out. So now we've got our smartphone view and we've got our desktop view, and we can go ahead and publish this form out. So we select publish. Okay, so it's all done, and close. So now just opening up back into our list, and we can go select on new item, and open up our new form. Now that looks a lot better. Now what we can do is go ahead, and as you can see, I can't click in this particular job ID field because I'm not in the site owners group, but I can now fill in this form. Fallen tree. Well, ID is 1234. It's a landscaping job. I'm going to use my location here. It's going to get my location. I can now just see whereabouts am I exactly. And hopefully it should bring me up. Now I don't have a GPS in my laptop, so this is going to try and determine where I am via my internet connection. So yes, I am in Melbourne, and scrolling in a little bit further, yes, I am there, and should be on Little Burke somewhere. Yep, there we are, and that's pretty close, down to about 30 metres away, and that's without using a GPS. So let's close that out. So that's all good, and I can add an attachment here as well if I wanted to. So let's just save this particular one, and that's going to kick off the workflow. And as you can see here, the workflow is now in progress. Go into my workflow history, see that my workflow is in progress, and because it was a landscaping job, it's been routed off to the landscaping team to check it out. Okay, that's excellent, everything that we need. Okay, so let's respond to that task because it has been assigned to me. I can respond to this task directly from this screen, and go approve. Yep, team's gone off and done it. It's all good. Okay, so going back into our list now, we can see that our workflow's all been completed and everyone's happy. But now we've progressed a little bit now, and I've got mobile workers, and out in the field they tend to not have email connectivity or internet connectivity a lot of the time. And they also don't want to be carrying their laptops around with them, walking up and down the streets, doing different things. We need a better solution to get them onto their mobile devices, whether it be an iPhone or an iPad or a Windows phone, for example. So I don't want to be in there. Let's go back into Nintex Forms. Okay, so opening this up, what I can now do is go back up into my layouts. Now that I've already designed my form and I've got everything in here that I actually want, I can now go, let's design a Nintex Mobile tablet layout. And we'll go OK. Now you might be thinking that's fairly unattractive, and you're right, it is. And the reason that is like it is because it's stripped out all of the CSS and all of the styling that goes with HTML forms. Because what we have with Nintex Forms as an added feature of the product is a product called Nintex Mobile, which is downloadable from iTunes or from the Windows Store. Now, once you've got that application on your device, you can use that to connect back into your SharePoint environment, either via your corporate ID, if you've got a direct connection back into the intranet, or you can use your Microsoft ID and via Nintex Live can connect back into the internal environment. So now that I've got my tablet layout, I can also create my iPhone layout as well. There it is there. But I'm going to demonstrate the Windows 8 layout within the Windows 8 application. So now that we've got that, while I'm also here, I'm also going to create the form and put it on the internet so it's available outside and offline. So even if I do have staff that they may have an unsupported device such as BlackBerry, for example, and can't get into the internal network via their device, but they can use the internet, I can publish this form anonymously to the internet and go publish. And one of the things I can do now is if anyone's got a mobile phone with them, I will paste the URL onto the screen in 2 seconds and open up the form, open up this URL, and then submit some data back. So I'll just copy this here and put it bigger on the screen for you. So if you do have a mobile phone handy now, type that URL into your browser. Now, just to let you know that is actually a capital E and a capital Z. So I'll just give that a couple of seconds while people are entering that in. So what's happened when I publish this particular form is the form itself has been packaged up and published to our our Nintex Live environment, which is hosted on Microsoft Azure. Now, this all comes free with the software assurance that you have with our products, and as part of SharePoint 2013 licensing, you are allowed to have anonymous connections back into your SharePoint environment. So should you wish to embed Nintex Forms into your company website, for example, and it may be to collect survey information, or it could be to collect potential candidates for jobs, to upload CVs and things along those lines, you can simply put those on your website, either embedding the form or placing a link on the website, and the information, it passes through Nintex Live back into your on-premise environment, where your internal environment then can process that information via Nintex workflow and shoot off the CVs, what it could be to HR, for example, or it could be survey information straight to marketing. And there'll be no need for the IT departments to build any sort of DMZ solution allowing data to be passed through the corporate firewall or anything along those lines. Okay, so that should be long enough now. So I'm just going to minimize this for now. I'm going to go OK and go back into my form. So now that I've published out my form, I've shown you the web-based form. One of the things I can do actually is, for those of you who don't have a mobile phone, I'll just copy and paste this here, and I'll paste this into a new browser window. And you'll see that this will bring up the desktop version of the form. However, had you loaded this on your mobile phone, for example, you would have got the nice slimline version of the same form. So let's go back into here now, and what I'm going to do is go to my Win8 desktop and over into Nintex Mobile. Now, Nintex Mobile is available in the store. You can get it there. It's also available in iTunes for iPad and iPhone. And this week, with any luck, the mobile phone version on Windows 8, so the Windows 8 phone application will be released in the store as well. So opening up this particular form, I can now go into Forms. Okay, and there's my submission form. So what I've done here is I haven't done any justice to it. I've put it here, there's no category, and it doesn't look very good. So let's just go back into Nintex Forms, because we've got some time, and open up Nintex Forms again. And what I'm going to do is go into the settings of the particular form, and I'm going to give it a category. So we're going down into Nintex Mobile, give it a nice category, so we can say field staff reporting. And what we can do, I've got a little picture here I prepared earlier. We can put in a URL here to an icon to make it nice and pretty. Okay, so let's just republish that again. It takes only a couple of seconds. So what you can see, what I've done is I've built my list, I've then designed one form, and now I've actually designed the form multiple times over. So I've designed the form once, but I'm publishing it out across multiple platforms in one go. And if I wanted to do even more platforms, I can simply go to this drop down and select other platforms that I want to deliver this particular form for. So it's designed once, delivered to multiple platforms in one easy go. So closing the form now, let's go back to our mobile application. And we'll just refresh the screen. So the mobile application does refresh every 15 minutes. So now we've got our field staff reporting, and the icon will download when it's good and ready. Okay, so opening up the form, we've now got our title. So I can be out on the road, working away on my iPad or iPhone, or I could be using a Windows Surface or a small Windows device with Windows 8 on it with this application installed. And I can see that a rubbish bin is full. 3, 4. Yeah, full to the brim with it could be organic matter fire risk. Category is we need a waste disposal service, and report location. So now I can actually come in and use Nintex Mobile to go ahead and drag around to see that, yes, I was actually over in here, and that's where I was when it happened, where the bin was. Or I can actually just click on this button and it will go off and get my location automatically for me. If I was actually on the premise, I can go ahead and take a photograph. So using my device, whatever it might be, this is just going to give you a picture of myself. So I can just take a photo. So there's the rubbish coming out of the top. And we can go ahead and use the device capabilities such as being able to crop the photo and do whatever we need to do. And go open, and that's automatically going to attach that to my screen. Now I can do video if I wanted to. Nintex Mobile supports up to 100 megabytes of attachments. So if it's video or a sound recording that you need to attach, so be it. You can also access your file system, anything that the device allows you to do. Okay, so now we've got all that information. We're not ready to actually send that off yet because I need to fill in some more information in the description. So I can just save that to my drafts, and I can exit out of here and go off and check my email and do whatever I need to do. But okay, I'm ready to actually send it off now. So I'm going to go back into my app, go to my drafts, and we can see that the form icon is actually downloaded now. So there's our nice little icon. And we can open up the form that I saved earlier, and we can submit this off. Okay, so let's go over into the outbox, and that was too quick for me. So if I was offline, that form would have sat there in the outbox waiting to go. Because I'm online, it automatically shot off back to the SharePoint server. Now, with any luck, I should see a task coming through here in any second. So what I'm going to do is just minimize out of here, go back into SharePoint, refresh my form. I can see that here's my application, and I've got an error. So what we can do here is that the demo guides have played unfavorable, but this goes to show some of the error reporting features that we've got. So this has actually automatically sent an email back to the administration of the site to say that there has been an error within this particular form. So let's go here and have a look to see just what happened with this particular workflow. I've got a suspicion it would have been around the copy attachment. No, it was with assigning the task. And where did that go? Aha, I know why. Because I sent it to the wrong thing. That's okay. Let's go through and resend this one, because I know that data was good. So sending that particular workflow off again on its merry way. What I wanted to show to you is the capability of Nintex Mobile. Now, Nintex Mobile is a feature of Nintex Forms. But what it does, it allows you to tie the two products together, so Nintex Workflow and Nintex Forms. So with your, if you do have Nintex Workflow, all of your tasks come up into Nintex Mobile as well. So as you can see here, my field report tasks that's come across from that particular workflow, so I can open up my task. So any tasks that I might have, so I might be a field worker and I could be a line manager, for example, and I'm going to get tasks assigned to me all day, but I'm never in the office. So all of those tasks will come to my mobile device, so I can simply action these things without having to come into the office to do it. So I can come in, approve this particular task, I can see what it was, a falling tree, there was the location of it. I can select on the field, which is going to show me the location of where the fallen tree was. Yep, okay, I can get a crew out there to fix that up and submit that off, and that will go through now and sort that out. So going back to my desktop, refreshing, you can see that my workflow has been all completed through from the mobile application. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up my, my small little scenario here, and what I've done is shown you how you can quickly build out a fairly simple scenario, but something that is quite effective. Now, this particular scenario is actually a real-life scenario that was implemented into a council in New Zealand, and this they were able to build out this particular solution in an hour and a half and implemented it across all of their devices. They were running iPads. They had 14 iPads that they deployed the application out onto within a matter of 25 minutes. And within a morning, they'd done the testing, and that afternoon they'd placed this application into full production with officers out on the ground reporting graffiti and bins and any landscaping issues around the towns back to their main site for worker crews to go off and fix those issues out. And that's saved them thousands upon thousands of dollars, and also in time as well. So if there's any questions around anything that you have seen, by all means get on to Robert, and the guys at Antares will be able to help you out with anything. And if there's any questions within, I think we've got some time now to take some questions, so I'm happy to field any that might come through.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Dan and Reno. I think everyone who's online would see that this is obviously a very compelling set of features that you have available and really extends what's available out of the box. And it's one of the key reasons why we do recommend Nintex for forms and for workflow, and especially nowadays as people move to 2013, there's a big push for the ability to handle all the business process automation in a mobile format. And that was definitely a very compelling demonstration of that. Just in terms of the questions, in terms of the recording, this is being recorded, and you will automatically get access to the recording post-webinar. It will come out to you, I believe, tomorrow. So if you do want to watch again some of the capabilities, or if some of your teammates weren't able to access the webinar, you'll be able to send that on to them automatically. Also, in terms of pricing, we'll be in touch with you individually as we go forward to talk a little bit more about what capabilities you want to see, what you might be interested in, and also some of the compelling features and price action that we have for Nintex before the end of the year. But at this point, I think as we are seeing the end of the webinar and running out of time, I'd like to thank you all very much for coming onto the presentation. I hope you found it useful. I'd also like to thank Dan and Reno from Nintex for taking so much time out to show us this compelling demonstration. So once again, thank you all very much. Look forward to speaking to you very shortly, and I hope you all have a very good rest of the day. Thank you very much.